Welcome once again to the Tin Dog Podcast. It's nice to be back recording again. So, what will we be talking about this time? I have been asked by many people to discuss the 2005 season, or the Ninth Doctor's time. Well, I'll be doing that. But I won't be starting with the Ninth Doctor Christopher Eccleston. I'll be starting with the Ninth Doctor Richard E. Grant. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about something that happens on I think it's the 5th or possibly the 6th of November, which is the release of the Season 3, or the 2007 season, the current one, on DVD. I've been sent a set by 2Entertain, who are the people who release the DVDs for the BBC to review, and I must admit it's a very, very nice thing. You get 6 discs, which is a bit of a bonus in comparison to the 2005 season. So what do you get? Well, 14 episodes. That includes the Christmas special from last year, which is the one with Donna in it. And of course, you get all the episodes that you watched on TV, all with commentaries, different to the ones you could download. So if you're in it for the commentaries and the extras, not a problem. And I suppose that is the problem when it comes to Doctor Who box sets. You watch the episodes, you tape the episodes off the TV, you've got them already. But of course, that could be in breach of copyright. So why should you buy this set? It's the extras, that's what it comes down to. Obviously you end up with episodes without the credits being all squashed up. You get to hear the full music without somebody talking about Strictly Come whatever it is at the end. And that sort of thing, and Only Joseph Will Do, or... Have I digressed again? I suspect I have. It's the extras. That's what you want. You want to watch them. So what do you get? Well, you get outtakes. And let's face it, that's what we've always wanted. Unfortunately, they're not the fabulous things that you expect at the end of Smokey and the Bandit. They are people just sort of tripping over lines. There are deleted scenes. Now, it's useful, in fact, from a production point of view, it's very useful to see what Doctor Who raw footage looks like before it gets put through that rather nice digital processor that gives it a sort of filmic quality. It does look, as far as the untrained eye is concerned, in the deleted scenes, which of course haven't been treated, that you're watching some sort of student project. It's a very odd thing to witness. The deleted scenes consist of stuff from across the board, well worth having a look at. But my favourite part of this is where David Tennant speaks directly to camera. Now, David Tennant, in the story Human Nature, is talking, giving instructions to Martha. And then there's a bit where Martha fast forwards, and then she gives, the last one, which is what we saw as viewers. But here you get to see it completely unedited. And you see the Doctor give his 6 instructions, and then he goes into this huge monologue about how he went to his favourite gig, and it was the House Martins, and then they broke up very soon after that. And it's a wonderful moment. And then he snaps straight back into the Doctor, straight back into the scene. It's really, really, really good. Of course, Disc 4 is the one that will take the hammering from your machine. You'll probably just leave it in. It's got Human Nature, Family of Blood, and Blink on it. Of course, included are David Tennant's video diaries, which, as far as I'm concerned, are almost the highlight of the whole box set. What is missing? Now, there's possibly 2 things missing from this set that I think I would have put in. One is the animated story. I think it deserves to go in. I know that would kind of make it canon, but the fact that it's being released the same day just kind of annoy me. I'm just thinking, did they think they should have put it in? Did they not want to? I'm not quite sure. I'm thinking the animated story should have been there. The one thing that I think could be there, I just haven't found it, are the Easter eggs. You see, as you remember, in the story Blink, the Doctor leaves messages for everyone by hiding things on certain discs. The hidden messages, the Easter eggs. So, logically, you would put these hidden messages onto these discs so you could find them. I've tried every single setting on every single remote. Were the BBC really clever and they haven't put the Easter eggs on in order to make you keep looking for it? Similar in many respects to an Avengers episode where they try and convince the foreign power that they have invisible soldiers, where in fact they don't have any, but you still can't see them. Does that mean that these Easter eggs truly are missing? They truly are Easter eggs. They are hidden. People will continue looking for them for years. Or perhaps they are on the proper release, not the review copy. This I doubt. But that's what I would have put on. I would have hidden them somewhere on the set. But if you can find them, please email me, because I have been completely unable to find them. That's tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. Another thing that's missing, sorry, this makes it 3 now, doesn't it, is the Children in Need concert. Rather oddly, they've included the Children in Need build-up, the confidential that goes with it. It tells you all about the concert, tells you what's happening, gives you the background, but the actual concert itself is missing. It's a weird thing to do. Surely it would have been more logical to do it the other way around. Put the concert on, but miss out the making of. Anyway, is it worth getting? You'll buy it anyway. It's Doctor Who. It's this current season. It's a box set. It's a very nice looking thing. But if the only thing that this box set gets you to do is give Donna another chance before she comes back next Easter, well, it's kind of worth it in that itself. Because the Donna story isn't as bad as I remember it. Perhaps it's hindsight, perhaps it's just because Christmas gets everyone very excited and then is slightly disappointed, no matter how good the present actually is. I'll leave it up to you to decide. And so, as promised, we'll discuss the 9th Doctor. But of course I'd like to do this chronologically. So next episode I'll be talking about Rose. I'll be talking about eating chips, watching TV, sleeping, bringing back the TV series, the release on the internet of it early, and if that actually affected anything other than in a very positive way. I'll discuss all that next time. This time I'm going to be discussing Richard E. Grant's time as the animated Doctor. Doctor Who wasn't coming back. We'd established that. We'd been without him for a very, very long time. We'd got used to it. People had tried bringing him back via the back door. You had Big Finish, and then BBC I decided to release Sharda with the 8th Doctor. Now, this would be very nice. You'd be able to download the episodes and listen to them, and there would be illustrations in the background. Cosgrove Hall, that's the company who used to make Count Duckula and a lot of other things that only English people seem to remember, were approached to create a short series called The Ghosts of Albion. Not a Doctor Who thing, but it was written by the person who played Tara in Buffy. And that was interactive. There was a sort of slight flash animation. Now, I know animation is meant to be breathing life into things, but Flash had a fairly limited broadband capability. And broadband was in its infancy in these days. And we are talking, 7 years ago? 6 years ago. 2002 would have been in production. Anyway, I'm digressing. I'm probably all over the shop. Ghosts of Albion was a bit of a success, so they decide at BBC I, this is the interactive BBC, press the red button, that sort of thing. I'm not sure if Americans have this sort of system set up. As a sideline, it's interesting to note that when Douglas Adams wasn't writing his books and he was off doing other things, this was one of the projects he was working on. BBC I, interactive television, truly interactive communication. Of course, he was way ahead of his time, but it is nice to know that his legacy lives on. And so, it was decided upon that they could bring Doctor Who back via the back door. They could, for the 40th anniversary, which would be 2003, they would have a show you could download an episode at a time, 6 episodes, starring a new Doctor. So who would they have? Well, Richard E. Grant had been talked about for a very long time. His connection with Withnail and I, with obviously starring Paul McGann as well, and his otherworldliness that people seem to go on and on about, made him an ideal candidate. He's that whole posh thing, so you could get away with him being a Time Lord, rather than just some bloke from Gallifrey. God forbid a Ninth Doctor have some sort of common northern accent. Yeah, he's a Time Lord. Let it go! Can't. Let it go, I'm promising you. No, seriously, let it go. So, they approached Paul Cornell. Now, there is a novelisation of the Scream of the Shakra. I have been mispronouncing it, I am sorry, but for years all I did was read it, and I'm not the world's best reader. That sounds like a very bad admission to make, so I apologise enormously. Where were we? Ah yes, Paul Cornell. He was approached to write the story, and he went away, and then went on holiday. There's a very in-depth production notes section in the back end of the BBC novelisation that goes with this story. Well worth tracking down. You can pick it up on eBay for a few pounds. Really not an issue. I would suggest getting it just for the oddity value. You see, because to me, it's actually a very good Doctor Who story. At its core, that's the important part. The story takes a not so newly regenerated Ninth Doctor, who has recently had something go horribly wrong in his life, and he's lost a companion that he seems to have had a lot more in common with than his other ones, and then he arrives on Earth, probably at the behest of the Time Lords. It's all very Jon Pertwee. Oh, obviously UNIT doesn't make an appearance in this story, but it is replaced by the Army, who act in an extremely UNIT kind of a way, very early UNIT, shoot first, react. The dialogue's quite tight. It is definitely a Paul Cornell script. And again, you have aliens which are very different from other things that have gone before. Which is, I think, the trick for writing good Doctor Who. Work out an alien's motivation. If it wants to take over the universe, figure out why, what it's going to do with it, and move on from there. Another reason you should track this down, and you must remember that you can still download this story now and watch it as you've finished listening to this. Just go to your computer, visit the BBC website, type it in, and it's there. You can download it and watch it. You can watch it on a large screen, because thanks to broadband, you can see it greatly. At its core, there's a few moments that really make this story. The fact that David Tennant's got a bit part in it is good, but the fact that Derek Jacobi's playing the Master, yes, I know, that got your attention, didn't it? Makes it well worth experiencing. Derek Jacobi delivers one line that's absolutely marvellous. You see, the Doctor has taken as a companion the remnants of the Master that would disappeared into the Eye of Harmony on board the TARDIS, and then put them inside an artificial body that looks a bit like Roger Delgado and a bit like Anthony Ainley, basically a scary man with a beard. It's an android body with some limiters on his behaviour, which he's trying to get round. But either way, you don't realise this till quite in the story, so I apologise if I've spoiled that for anyone. The Master travelling with the Doctor is such a lovely idea that I'm surprised nobody else has ever really embraced it. So, the Master is talking to the Doctor's new companion, marvellously played considering of the animation, and he says, "I am the Master, and you will come to respect and love me with time." It's a lovely moment, and it's very Delgado. Story-wise, it's fairly pedestrian. I do like it, but it is fairly pedestrian, because that's what a new Doctor story should be. It shouldn't be too startling. Some meteors impact on Earth. They try and take over the Earth because the meteors contain small slug-like volcanic worm things who can control sound, and they use this sound control to control wormholes and the like. There are some moments which grate enormously. Things like the Ninth Doctor having a mobile phone which is linked to the TARDIS. Something I didn't quite like. But the voice acting is very good. The characterisation, again, is very good. I would recommend it. I can't really give it marks out of 10, but if I was, I would say it was a good 7. And for a first story well worth experiencing. There were of course plans to go on and make more of these, but then, on the 40th anniversary, it was announced that we were going to get real Doctor Who back. They were going to bring back that thing we loved the most. And suddenly I got very, very scared. I'd seen what they did to the show. Somebody at the BBC thought that Children in Need special thing, that Curse of the Fatal Death, was a good thing. What were they going to do to my beloved thing? The thing that I thought was dead, the thing that you could worship because it was no longer with us. Yes, I did use worship in connection with the TV show, and you know, I don't mind. So, next time we'll talk about Rose, and we'll talk about the rest of the 2005 season, one story at a time. Be seeing you. You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. To contact us, please email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. Doctor Who is a registered trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended.